Just how bullish is this bull market, or is this market a bunch of bull? Is question of the day as we go into one of our more long-term reads that we haven't looked at on this channel in actually since last cycle, really, and it has been a pretty damn good indicator as to where you kind of expect Bitcoin corrections to come in on its trending bull markets, and if lost, well, it's back to the bull market, the bullshit market, that is. Anyways, without further ado, we can just jump right into this one. We'll also go over our setup as well, and first things first, the message note, the chart of the day. In this case, we are looking at a red moving average right here. That is the 5 exponential moving average on the monthly chart. And basically, if we zoom out throughout Bitcoin's full history, we can see that Bitcoin has a nice history of, in its nice, strong uptrending moves, riding that moving average, meaning that we don't see Bitcoin close below it until basically the market cycle is over. Now, I can just show you very, very quickly visually what this kind of looks like, and you can go all the way back on over here to the Genesis at 2010, and you can see on this first major rally, boom, Bitcoin rallies all the way up. Yes, it tests that area many times, completely fine, does not close below it until it's all over. It's all over and the bullshit's back. Then once Bitcoin reclaims it, it's game on yet again. And what do you know? Same thing a couple years later when Bitcoin loses it in February 2014. And then again, same thing to the upside over here. You can see many tests down to this region, connects through the whole way pretty much. And once Bitcoin loses it in 2018, game fucking over. And then so on and so forth. You see the same thing over here in the more recent cycle in 2020, and then actually yet again in the current cycle that we're in, starting in January of 2023. So what can you take from this chart? Well, first thing is first, that moving average is currently situated at 57,600. We can interpret the wick to the downside as of this month as essentially a test to that region. And because Bitcoin has thus far, rallied, I would say sniffling off that. I mean, from this move that that started from about $73,000 to the bottom at $59,000, it's an 18% move, and thus far, yeah, it's 12%, holding on to 12% of that. So, has reclaimed a good portion of that. My point is that as long as Bitcoin is above it, okay, still game on to the upside for Bitcoin. However, if you are bullish for Bitcoin, you actually would be looking at this as a signal long term that Bitcoin's going to continue from here into the next month of May, meaning that Bitcoin's lows are either already in or very close to being in. That also implies that if Bitcoin starts to lose the current lows, that might not be the case. That might not be the case in the sense that we might be experiencing a multi-month correction in the sense that, at least for now, cycle's probably over. Maybe I shouldn't say that cycle's probably over, but as long as Bitcoin's above that $57,000, okay, there is still that in play. But just going ahead and backtesting it throughout the annals of history for Bitcoin, whenever Bitcoin's lost it, it's either been the end of that cycle or very close to the end in terms of timing. So, anyways. Moving on from there, I do want to say, as I get my notes back up on over here, that what also kind of, I guess, colludes with that as a general look. Well, if we go over here to the daily HPDR bands, we did get the sell-off that we were looking for yesterday. Or I wouldn't necessarily say looking for yesterday, but it's just kind of an opinion that, hey, Bitcoin's probably going to come down. But here's sort of the first area that you might be looking for if you are hopium for this current area, or the most recent area being a low, which would be the median right now on the daily HPDR bands on CME, which is 63,350. So I probably would be expecting to test maybe somewhere down around there sometime today. The question is, does Bitcoin hold it or not? If Bitcoin holds it, rallies back up, and most importantly, takes out the Tuesday high, lows are very likely in. Get ready for a move 70,000 plus. The monthly game continues on into May, which, by the way, we only have like 5 days left in the trading month for April now. And hey, who is that? What's up, Andres? Welcome to the channel. And that should also remind me to say, if you do find this content valuable and you want to be like Andreas, you can also like and subscribe, as it does help out this channel. And I don't know, maybe motivates me to continue to make these videos as well. Now, I'm going to make them anyways because I don't have anything fucking better to do. That's the real answer. Anyways, yes. On the other hand, if Bitcoin does lose the median today, meaning that we see a daily closure below there, I would be looking for another assault back down around probably $61,000, maybe slightly below $61,000, just anywhere around this area right here would be fair game. But really, we wouldn't want to see Bitcoin trade lower than that, if at all, especially lower than Friday's low. At that point, you're very likely to see $57,000, and at that point, I mean, this chart over here is going to come into collision with that 5 exponential moving average. Probably by the end of the month, if you see a closure below there, I would actually go as far to say that expect a multi-month correction and maybe even the cycle's over. I mean, possibly. I don't think that's what's going to happen based off of all the information that we've been going over the past few weeks here. But I do want to prepare myself, as always. What if occurred would change my mind, just based off the data. And that would be a major portion of that for sure. So it's kind of like two-pronged. It's like, if you're looking at this right now, yes, it does still favor the Boo laws. That, if it happened, as we just spoke about, that would start to switch around things significantly, at least in my opinion. So fair enough. And I mean, if you do want to take a really contrarian view right now, I guess the contrarian view would be that Bitcoin, like, the cycle is over. I don't think that's actually going to happen, because I know I'm going to get some comments like, hey, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? You were talking about this and that yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. Wait, is that not going to happen anymore? It's like, no, look, okay, understand. These are nuanced situations. If this happens over here that we're talking about, it's a theoretical situation, that would indicate to me it's probably over, or at least over for a while. Don't think that happens. Again, based off of all the other things that do suggest that there is a much higher probability that the low is already in. And really what this chart would say is that, the lows are already in, and now we kind of just zoom in down into the daily, and we look at these areas right here and we say, hey, okay, these would be good areas if that is if that is true, again, right here, and perhaps right here as well. And then maximum would be $57,000. Any sort of closure below there, problems, fucking problem city, baby. Anyways, okay, cool. So we got that. Let's see. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, also another thing that is suggesting perhaps a higher probability of a turnaround here, although, in my opinion, this one looks very questionable. And to be fair, the meta signals streak was pretty damn powerful. I think it ended at 50. Wouldn't mind a few losses here, just kind of like put things back into order, just from a statistical perspective. But in this case, an hourly signal for Bitcoin has fired off. It has fired off at the price of 64,250, kind of where Bitcoin's trading at as of right now. And the target one for that one is 65,300. Target 2 is 66,350, and target 3, if it gets there, is 67,850. Again, this is based off an hourly signal. There's a very wide stop loss on this, so hey, when you're looking at this, you should look at this as like not a fucking. You really shouldn't look at it as like a spoon feeding, because you can make these better if you use, I don't know, maybe 1 ounce of your brain, maybe I don't know. It's possible, but also you could just not use it as well and be Mongoloid boy, Mongoloid and monkey boy. Anyways, would you rather be Mongoloid boy or monkey boy? That is the question of the day. Give your answers in the comment section below, because I need to know. I'm going to tally them up, and maybe that's the end of this channel. Anyways, yes, understand that target one, I do believe, has a very high probability, like 70 to 80%, like high 70s or low 80s. Target 2 has probably in like the 60s. Target 3 is definitely below 50%. But hey, if this does play out, which I have my own reservations about this one, and we do see Bitcoin again trade back above Tuesday's high. There's no time reference by the way on that, but just trade back above that high before going below Friday's low, Friday of last week's low. That would indicate to me lows are in. Get ready for an up month in May, again, which all Mays in election years have been up months for Bitcoins, just for what it's worth. Anyways, again, MetaSignals is a project that I'm invested in. You can get a lifetime subscription to their subscription service, whatever the fuck, in the link in the description below. I think there's, or I don't think there is, but there is limited spaces for that, and there you go. All right, cool. Let's now get into this one right over here. Update on the 2-day time frame stochastic regression here. We do see that it is going to come into collision with this regression on this next closure, which is tonight, actually. So again, another thing that would be suggesting that, hey, if Bitcoin is going to turn around, this area would be a good area for that. Now, are we going to see this one turn around tonight? Very unlikely, very fucking unlikely, because whereas the pivot, 69,450. So when this one opens up for the next, for the next period on tonight's closure, that number hopefully for the Bull's sake will move significantly down, and you see a bounce along this trend line. If you see something like that, again, another sort of colluding factor, confluent factor that Bitcoin, does put in the lows here. Again, this can come with wicks to the downside, closer to $60,000. That's fine. Still want to see any, especially closures below Friday's low of last week. That's where things start to, at least in my opinion, become very fucking concerning for the Bulls, at least for a multi-month correction. As of right now, what is this suggesting over here? It's suggesting that the lows are in. Market probably continues as it typically has and rides this moving average for these trending upside moves. I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. As always, want to wish you the best. Take care. Much love. Fuck you, and see you tomorrow.